Hi everyone. I just wanted to make a little video about the reading strategy that we want everybody to practice this week. We've talked about it a little bit already at school, but just as a reminder, this is a strategy for summarizing a story. And when we summarize a story, we just want to tell the most important points of the story in just a couple of sentences. So if somebody had never read this story before, you could tell them really quickly the most important parts of that story so that they could understand the basic story. So to do a summary, we can use the SWBST strategy. And you can also use your hand to help you, just like this picture. So your thumb could stand for the first S, somebody. And the somebody in the story is the main character or the main characters. And next is W, wanted. What did the main character in the story want? But, B for but. What problem did the character have? S for so. So how did they solve their problem? And finally, T for then. How did the story end? So when we were first talking about the SWBST strategy at school, we were using the example of Little Red Riding Hood. And Little Red Riding Hood has been our example story all year when we talked about the story elements, what are characters, setting, problem, solution, the events in the story. So we keep coming back to Little Red Riding Hood. So let's use the summarizing strategy SWBST to summarize the Little Red Riding Hood. So here's an example. Somebody. Who was the main character or person? Well, in Little Red Riding Hood, of course, that would be Little Red Riding Hood. She's the main character. So what did Little Red Riding Hood want? Well, Little Red Riding Hood wanted to see her grandma and give her some food. But what was the problem in that story? Well, the wolf got to Grandma's house first and was pretending to be Grandma. So how did Little Red Riding Hood try to solve this problem? Little Red had to ask for help from the woodcutter, who chased the wolf away. And then, how did the story end? They all lived happily ever after and never saw the wolf again. So you can see that here we could retell this story, we could summarize this story in just a couple of sentences. So if you'd never heard that story before, I could just tell you, Little Red Riding Hood wanted to see her grandma and give her some food, but the wolf got to Grandma's house first and pretended to be Grandma. So Little Red had to ask for help from the woodcutter who chased the wolf away. And then they all lived happily ever after and never saw the wolf again. So there it is. That's a summary of Little Red Riding Hood. So this week, we would really like for you to choose one of the books that you are reading on RazKids in your assignments and to summarize it using this strategy. You could write it down first if that would help you, but after you decide what you're going to say, please record a video and have your mom or dad send it to us in a message on Class Dojo. And we're really excited to hear you summarize your stories.